You are listening to Belly Birth Beyond with Pelvic Floor Mama. I'm your host, Becca Boeving, pelvic rehab certified coach and mom of two. Welcome to the safe space where no topics of motherhood are off limits and judgment is left at the door. Too many mamas are dismissed when they've got valid concerns. If you're sick of hearing that's normal when it feels otherwise, keep listening. Welcome back to Belly Birth Beyond with Pelvic Floor Mama for season 2. You guys, I am so excited about this season. This is all about you. This is all about your pregnancy. We're breaking down each trimester. We're breaking down what you can do pelvic floor wise, maybe things you haven't even thought of. And I'm going to be having some amazing guests come on to help support you throughout your postpartum journey as well. So you're not going to be alone during this. And I'm so excited for this season. So this one is you're pregnant. Now what? You just found out you're pregnant. You call your doctor, right? And they tell you, we'll see you in like 2 to 6 weeks. And you're like, what? I have to wait? Why? What do I do in the meantime? Like, this was a complete shock to me the first time we found out we were pregnant, and it was a 4-week wait. It was a 4-week wait. And we're like, what do we do in that time? Because generally, when you find out you're pregnant, you're roughly like, we'll say 4 weeks, right? And so depending on the practice, you won't be seen until you are unless you've had a history of something like for instance, we lost our first pregnancy. So from then on, I always had immediate care, and then I always saw somebody or had an ultrasound at 6 weeks. But that wasn't the case with our first, and it's generally not the case with those low risk pregnancies. And so we were seen for like another 4 weeks, and we're so excited, right? And you live in this bubble of like excitement, but also you have no clue if like that stick is true or not. Maybe that was just kind of how I felt. But that's something that a lot of people don't understand is you actually wait to go in and see them. But during this time of like this waiting period, some things that you should be thinking about are, is this the provider you want to have? How are the providers like? Do you know other people who have had births with them or with this uh, provider's office, or the hospital? Like, how do you feel about all of those things? I know sometimes you can't control them because they are the only option you have in your area, but sometimes you have several options and then you have to kind of pick and choose which one you want to have. I want to have like a gentle reminder that your provider works for you. Okay, this is something I think we forget about, and it's like they're in a medical co and they're superior to us, but really they work for you. They are trying to help guide you and your baby to a beautiful pregnancy and a birth and keep you both safe. So make sure that they you are on the same page with them. If they are telling you things that you should be doing, you should understand why, right? So understanding the why you're doing it, why you wouldn't want to do it. I think it's really important to have like a full picture when it comes to this time because you want to be really comfortable with the decisions that are being made. So making sure that you have a provider that you truly enjoy, that you like to have, that you guys drive with, and maybe you're just meeting them for the first time. So during this little four week time before you go in, or maybe less, maybe more, you can come up with some questions that you're going to ask them. Talking about things that are maybe even down the line, right? Like, would you do an induction? What's your cesarean rate? Whatever's important to you for this birth and what you want to make happen. Think about those types of questions. And there's some people out there who have like really great questions that you can ask your provider to make sure that they're a good fit for you. But that would be a really good one. Also, prenatal. I would hope you are already taking a prenatal, but if you are not, make sure you are. That's really important. I love Lily Nichols has a book, and actually she has a new one out. That's not that new anymore, but it's a Real Food for Pregnancy was the original. Truly so helpful when you're trying to conceive, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and fourth trimester. And it's not just for the women, it also talks about the man as well, because that's important. She's a registered dietitian, and then someone she knows or she had a hand in it, I can't remember, created full well prenatals. Love them. They are the ones that I would do all the time. I don't have an affiliate link with them at all. I used to. Not saying you have to take them. There's probably some other good ones, but I truly trust them and what they do because they primarily focus in pregnancy nutrition and prenatal health and all of the things. And one pill is not going to do it for you. You're not going to get everything you need out of just one pill. So I'm just going to throw that out there too, because I did not know that with our very first pregnancy, not our first child, but our very first pregnancy. So nutrition can be really hard. You might be experiencing some nausea and some things like that. I luckily never had this, or not very strongly, but I've heard wonderful things aside from all the other tricks that are out there that I'm sure you already know. But I've heard wonderful things about magnesium spray when it comes to this. And also, I would really encourage you to read the book Real Food for Pregnancy, or the other one that Lily Nichols has is, what is that book called? Something about fertility. Real Food for Fertility or something of that nature. If you look up Lily Nichols, you should be able to find it. But that can help talk about like how to curve those nausea and feel a little bit better too. Because a lot of it comes down to like our nutrition, and there's some like genetic component to it as well. So first trimester, you just found out you're pregnant, you're waiting to see this doctor, you're waiting to get in, maybe you're exhausted. I don't know if anyone else, if you are a first trimester mama or you are later in your pregnancy and you're thinking back to your first trimester, I'm pretty sure my second job was sleeping. All I wanted to do was sleep, just pure exhaustion. So this is why when moms ask all the time, like, I'm 7 weeks pregnant, what should I be focusing on? What should my like focus be right now for my pelvic floor? How can I help myself? And I love that you're thinking about this. And I love that you have put yourself in that position to really better yourself, right? Like that is so amazing to have that mindset and to already be thinking ahead. And so, my biggest thing that I say for that first trimester is be easy on yourself. Really listen to your body, because there are so many changes that are taking place in that first trimester that you want to kind of just let that happen. Just let your body get the rest it needs. Kind of listen to it. I like play low key. If you're someone who's like, I'm still doing my workouts, I love it, I feel great. Awesome. That is so great for you. But if you're someone who's like, I can barely get out of bed and do what I need to do, I don't know if I can do anything else, then don't put that pressure on yourself. Your body is doing so much work during this time that rest is probably what it needs. But if you truly, so I will never say you have to do this in first trimester ever. I will always say, wait till second trimester when you feel better, when you have a little more energy, and when you're ready to take that step. However, for those moms in the first trimester who are like, I'm feeling pretty good, I could do something, even if it's just, some simple breathing or some simple like mobility things, like what can I do to just kind of feel better and set myself up for this pregnancy? And that would be just kind of like learning your pelvic floor. And I know it sounds so foreign, like what the heck does learning your pelvic floor mean? Like what is that? But what is that? Like what is your pelvic floor? What does it do? What does it feel like when it is working, when it isn't working? These are all things that you're never taught. No one ever teaches us that. So your pelvic floor should is it should be strong throughout your pregnancy. Okay. It should be strong. It's supporting your pregnancy. Your pelvic floor right now is supporting your uterus, your bladder, your bowel. And so during your pregnancy, as your baby gets bigger in your uterus, your pelvic floor has more work to do. But please remember that when it is time for birth, your pelvic floor has to like fully lengthen and relax and move out of the way. So your pelvic floor does not do any of the pushing to get the baby out. Your pelvic floor, along with like your glutes and your hips and things like that, have to actually relax to allow a smoother birth to take place. Okay, I say this is important because sometimes we get so excited about strengthening that we forget that those muscles have to be able to relax and move too. And that's going to be the most important part when you get to that third trimester, when you get to labor and birth. So during that first trimester, if you're someone who really does want to do something, learning your pelvic floor just looks like doing some breathing. That's the foundation of everything within your pelvic floor. First and foremost, you're just going to learn how to breathe the right way. And you're probably listening to this like, what the heck does that even mean? We breathe every day. How do you breathe wrong? I had so many mamas join this challenge back in January who were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I wasn't breathing right. And that made a huge difference in how I feel. So we're right now, while you're listening to this, you're going to practice some breathing with me. Okay. This is what I do in my free class. If you've been there, when you breathe, your belly and your chest and even like your rib cage should expand. Okay. So it should rise, it should expand. So if you're putting like your hand on your chest and put your hand on your belly, and I want you to just take a moment and inhale and let your chest and your belly rise. Okay. Let it rise, let your belly fill there. And then as you exhale, you're just going to kind of let everything come back to a neutral position. Try not to suck in, pull in. It's just a gentle let everything fall to neutral. And then you're going to do it again. Okay, you're going to inhale, your chest and your belly are going to rise. You're almost going to try to push air like down into your pelvis. So really try to fill that belly and then come back down to like a neutral. Okay, just nice and simple. That is what your breathing should feel like. And that's what just getting in tune with your body, what feels good to you right now, what feels right to you right now. Because as you get further in this pregnancy, your body's going to be changing, and the more like in tune you can be with your body and how things feel, then the more you can limit like pain and discomfort, and you can really help support this pregnancy. Because pregnancy pain is common, but it is not normal. You already know this, especially if you've been around for a minute. That is what I'm going to preach until I am blue in the face. Pregnancy pain is common. It is not normal. I'm talking about round ligament pain. I'm talking about back pain, hip pain, pubic pain. Like, it does not matter what type of pain you're having. It is common, not normal. So that's something else to remember throughout this first trimester is the pain. If you do start having pain, it's common. It's not normal. And there's things you can do to help support your pregnancy right now. You don't have to live with this for the next 9 months. Okay. So, breathing is the foundation of your pelvic floor. You just practice that. From there, you really want to be able to engage your core and really use your core to help support you. And I don't mean like you're going to do a bunch of sit ups and planks and things like that. I just mean an everyday activity. For instance, if you go to stand up or go to sit up out of bed, your core is helping you do those things. And so often moms are worried about getting like that ab separation, the diastasis recti, and they think it's just normal and part of pregnancy and that there's nothing you can really do to prevent it. But really, you can. Learning things right now, or if you're sitting here in your third trimester, like, I didn't do any of this. It's okay. It's not too late. You can still do some of these things. But learning how to like engage your core and help support you is also going to help protect your body and limit pain and things down the road. And it's going to make your pregnancy and your birth so much easier. So you did your breathing. Then you're going to engage your core, which is almost like hugging your baby, which you probably don't have much of a baby right now, much of a baby bump right now, but you're tightening that core. And so as you exhale is when you tighten your core. And that would be when you were to stand up or sit up out of bed. So whenever you do that exertion is when you want to be able to like exhale and engage your core. And then the next piece to this is your pelvic floor. And so often moms are like, I don't know if I'm engaging my core right or my pelvic floor. I don't know what it feels like. I don't think anything's happening. And this can be really challenging. And this is something that I teach within my programs, like Secrets to Releasing Pregnancy Pain, one-on-one coaching. I do a lot of this in it as well, and all of which in the Mama Bundle. I think a lot of our coaching calls go over our breathing, our pelvic floor, and making sure that people are doing it right, that moms feel comfortable and that they're doing it right. So when your pelvic floor is engaging, you don't want your like butt to be clenching. You don't want to be squeezing your legs together. And truthfully, right now, when you just do a pelvic floor contraction, you don't even want your core to do much. You just want it to come from your pelvic floor. And you want to be able to isolate that. And so, what that can feel like is imagine, and bear with me with this analogy, imagine picking up like a marble with all of your fingers coming around that marble. So all of those fingers are coming around that marble to grab onto it, and then you're picking up. Okay, that's what your pelvic floor is doing, right? Because your vaginal canal is circular. So all those fingers coming around is vaginal canal, and then you're pulling up and in. So then you should feel your pelvic floor lift. If you need a little guidance, roll up a towel roll, straddle it, have it touch your perineum, and then when you engage your pelvic floor, you should feel less of your perineum through that towel. These are the important things that you can, if you're feeling up to it, you can do during your first trimester. You do not necessarily have to do this at all, but starting within your first and second trimester and learning your pelvic floor and learning what that feels like for you right now, before you have pain, before you have discomfort, before you have any of these other things, can really help limit some of those other things. Those other things are common, but they're not normal. And I want you to know that now. Do not allow anyone to dismiss you because you're having round ligament pain, because your hips are burning at night, because you can't roll over in bed, you're struggling to get dressed. Like, these are all common complaints that I hear from mamas every single day. You're not alone, but it doesn't have to be like this. And I don't want that to be like that for you. So, if you're in your first trimester, and these are some of the things that you can look for, and these are some things that you can help prevent this from happening. Super important to learn your pelvic floor because that's how you build upon other things. So often moms are like, what pelvic floor exercises should I do? First and foremost, you have to know what the heck your pelvic floor is doing and why. Quit the Kegels. Quit the Kegels. There's a time and a place for that, and it's not just sitting at a red light doing 10 Kegels. Quit those. Most moms don't even do Kegels right at all, period. And that adds to the dysfunction and the pain that you may be having. So quit the Kegels. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be doing pelvic floor contraction, which sure can be a form of a Kegel, but you're not going to be doing that just while you're sitting here listening to this podcast. You're going to be doing this when you stand up from the couch, when you lift something heavy, or just something in general. You're going to learn how to support your body how it's meant to be supported, and you're going to teach your body how to do that now so it becomes natural and a habit opposed to having to continuously remind yourself what to do each time you stand up, each time you get out of bed. Okay. Other things that maybe you may be experiencing in the first trimester are you might be having to pee all the time. That can be really common. That can be really common because now your bladder has a lot more, like, has more weight through there. And so it's an adjustment. And so that can be common. That can be an early symptom of pregnancy. But I want you to know that the leaking, whether it's leaking like you can't make it to the bathroom, or you're coughing, sneezing, you're laughing too hard, or you pick up something heavy and you pee your pants and you're like, ooh, can anyone see that? Do I have to go change? Do I need to go put a pad on? Or maybe you're already wearing a pad and this is something that you had before your pregnancy. Super common, but not normal. And there's things that you can do. Honestly, if you are experiencing this already or you do start to experience it, I would say most of the time that this happens is it's happening because your pelvic floor has too much tension. So, like some mobility, some relaxation, some breathing, there it is again, can really help reduce that from taking place and really help you find some comfort. Leaking, no matter whether you're pregnant or after you have this baby, is just not normal. It is common. It doesn't mean you have to have surgery. It doesn't mean you have to do anything crazy. It just means you have to learn your pelvic floor. That's it. Just learn your pelvic floor, learn how your body is supposed to function. And I'm going to get on a soapbox here for a minute, but like, why the heck do women not know about their pelvic floor and what it's supposed to be like? Like, why is there no education surrounding that? And not even just women, the amount of providers sometimes and doulas and healthcare professionals that truly have no idea what your pelvic floor is and what it does is astonishing to me, especially those that work with pregnancy and postpartum the and I don't mean any negativity towards them because it's so not their fault. Like there is something that fails along the line where we are not teaching this throughout like education or just standard of care or something. Like it's just missing. And it's not for everybody. Like there's some who are amazing and they do have a great understanding. And I can remember sitting in the hospital after our second, being knowing that I had to go to pelvic floor after, and I was kind of quizzing everybody, like, what is that? What am I going to do? Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Because can you imagine being a new mom in the hospital and being told that that you're going to go to like pelvic floor when you're like 3 weeks postpartum and you're like, I'm 3 weeks postpartum. I have to take care of this baby. Now you want me to go to an appointment. Why? What's the importance of going to this appointment? What are they going to do? Like, what's happening here? Can't I just do Kegels at home? Because that's so often what you're told, right? And so you ask the nurse or your provider or both, like, what should I expect? And they tell you, oh, you're just going to do like Kegels and stuff. Are you gonna wanna go to that appointment? Probably not. If you are already struggling to, like, get through your day as a newly postpartum mom and you don't have childcare or you don't wanna have to bring your baby with you or whatever it may be, you're probably not gonna go, and that happens to so many moms. So we're gonna set your pelvic floor up now, so you're not gonna I think everyone postpartum needs to go to pelvic floor, okay, or have some sort of pelvic floor work at home, which is where I come in or someone else that you love comes in. Um, so that's not just something traumatic happens and you have to have pelvic floor. Truthfully, pelvic floor isn't just for dysfunction, quote unquote, or thing like pain or leaking or anything like that. Pelvic floor is also about prevention and preparation. So if you are pregnant right now, preventing like pain from taking place, preventing leaking, preparing for birth, preparing for labor, because how your labor turns out is going to be how well you're going to recover. So if you have a really long labor and you push for like 3 hours and then you tore like a grade 3, which is you can go up to a grade 4, but grade 3 is pretty significant there. And so now you have all of this trauma to your pelvic floor and to your perineum and to like your muscular, the muscular structure down below. And you're navigating that healing journey as a new mom and taking care of this baby, it's going to make your recovery a little bit harder. But imagine pushing for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 pushes and baby's here and you don't have any tearing and you feel great and you can move. How much different your recovery gonna be? And I get we can't completely like limit and say you're not gonna tear at all, but we can limit the grade 3 and grade 4 tears by preparing your body, which is you're gonna start doing right now. Because if you just found out you're pregnant, now what? This is what you're doing. So I'm really excited to have you for this season. This was first trimester. What do you do now? If you have questions or you want more information, like drop me a DM over on Instagram. That's my primary source, or send me an email. It's info@pelvicfloormama.com. Please remember, mama is MOMMA. If you are a first trimester mama and you want to get the help and support right now, Secrets to Releasing Pregnancy Pain is a great spot to start. If you grab the mama bundle, you have support for your pregnancy, your birth, and postpartum, and you get access to the community, which is one-on-one support and weekly coaching calls. So I'd be really excited to have you there. But it's so exciting when you find out, when you pee on that stick and you find out you're pregnant for the first time or second or third. And now it's a whole new journey. It's whether it's your first time or your fifth time. So congratulations, mama, if you are expecting. And I am so excited to have you here for next week with trimester 2. Nothing is TMI when it comes to motherhood, and common doesn't necessarily mean normal. Always trust your gut and never stop advocating for the care you deserve. If you enjoyed this podcast, help it reach more mamas like you by subscribing and leaving a review on your preferred listening platform. Keep in touch with me on Instagram by following Pelvic Floor Mama. See you next time.